Hey there, Jason Wright with Vitruvian Book Review 39, 40. I don't know. I can't believe we're closing in on an entire year of book reviews. And I've got a great one for you today. And as you've noticed, probably if you watch these in any sort of sequential order, I have really been on a health and wellness kick of late. Most of the guests on the Jason Wright Show have been health and wellness experts. Most of the books that I'm reviewing are health and wellness. And that really isn't deliberate. I guess it just goes to show that if you follow your passion will reveal itself. And that's kind of what has happened. And this book is Regenerate by Sayer G. He is the founder of GreenMedInfo.com. I think I first heard of this book on Ben Greenfield's podcast. And I got to tell you, it is an almost overwhelming wealth of information. I personally love this book. It's going to be kind of like Dr. Marvin Singh's book that I just reviewed recently, and who's also been on the podcast, as well as Joel Green's book, The Immunity Code. Marvin Singh's is Rescue Your Health. Joel's is The Immunity Code. These are going to be like reference books for these, like will be in my reference library. Regenerate, so let's talk a little bit about regeneration and what that means. So your body has the ability to do this very thing, to regenerate itself. You can regenerate at the cellular level. We can actually regenerate quicker than what we normally would. Basically, the reason why as we get older, our skin sags and we start to deteriorate is because our body is not regenerating as quickly as it once did. But there are steps that you can take to that end, such as intermittent fasting, such as understanding what herbs and spices that you can add to your food and what they can do for you, and learning about mindfulness and proper sleep and how to actually take and eat and use from a nutritional standpoint, understand what you should be putting into your body for the greatest outcome with regard to health and wellness. The thing I like too about this book is it opened my eyes to the modern health establishment. So, as you've probably noticed, with during the age of or the era of COVID, there's kind of been this one-dimensional cure for the whole thing, which is wear a mask and get vaccinated. And those are two possible actions with regard to either preventing yourself from getting sick, preventing others. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer, so don't worry, we're not going down that road. You don't have to worry about that. But also, there are some things that we could do to naturally to stave off the virus by strengthening our immune system. Anytime you really boost your immune system, then you are giving yourself a fighting chance of in the fight to prevent yourself from becoming ill. And so much of what this book talks about is why the medical establishment kind of has frowns upon holistic medicine and precision medicine, or these functional medicines. Basically, the stuff that is kind of like, well, when I was growing up, I'm 46, so I was a child of the 80s. If you had someone talking about drinking green tea or consuming spices and herbs as a remedy for anything other than a pill or a shot that a doctor prescribed, they were considered weird. I went to school with those kids that their parents were all into holistic medicine and everything, and I was probably one of those like, yeah, you're weird. No, you should just take a pill. And when you look back on the history of the American Medical Association and the field of medicine in the West in particular, it goes back to, which is spelled out in this book, John D. Rockefeller and him finding different ways to use seed oils and animal oils and then condensing and compounding these medicines and making them into pharmaceuticals, and then funding medical schools that would then create doctors that would prescribe these medicines. And I'm not saying some big conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that there was for any nefarious activity going on at all. you could just trace the history of Western medicine and realize that there were some things that put people in this mindset that there's only one lane to wellness, which is pharmaceuticals and professional physicians prescribing a pill or some other form of medication. A lot of these medications, by the way, they come from natural sources, so it's not all synthetic or whatever. So again, I'm not downing the American medical establishment or the Western medical establishment by any means. That's just not the role I play in the world. But I will say that it created this sort of mindset for years and years, of which I once subscribed to in my younger years, that you go to the doctor, what the doctor says you do. And now we've kind of gotten into this era, especially where healthcare costs are so high. Physicians, especially a primary care physician, it's really challenging for them to run a business as well as practice medicine. So it's see as many patients as you can, and it's diagnose, prescribe, diagnose, prescribe. And a lot of the things that are brought forth in this book are more natural things that you should more, again, herbs, teas, plant-based foods, the meats and the animal proteins that we should be consuming, not only to maintain health, but to kind of restore health and to, in fact, restore our body. I can tell you that as someone who has adopted a more ancestral diet myself, in addition to, I've always exercised, but I with adopting a more ancestral based diet that like this promotes, I have very little to no inflammation. My immune system seems to be really high. I have had COVID and I recovered from it pretty quickly. As a matter of fact, I worked out throughout the entire time I had COVID, not as extensively as I would if I had. It did have an impact on me. It did. It set me back a little bit from my oxygen levels. They were a little lower. There was some fatigue, but not to the point where I was in bed and down and out. No, I went on walks. I rode my Peloton bike. And I think a lot of it had to do with the way I eat and the foods I consume. And Regenerate is just a fantastic book to give you some tips and some recipes and some things that you should be eating and consuming. Let's see. Let's look at some of the things that I've highlighted here. Okay, look. I have elements of vanity. I don't want to have any more wrinkles than I possibly have to. Like I said, I'm pushing 50. I'm 46 years old. And here's a tab that I've marked in here. It says anti-wrinkle. And one of the things is like simple suggestions such as topical products like aloe vera. Of the roughly 100 natural substances that have been researched to improve aging skin, aloe vera is possibly the most effective. Widely available, not very expensive. It's right there, man. In addition to its anti-aging effects, this youth-enhancing plant has another 50 or so side benefits, ranging from topical application to heal wounds, treat burns, and promote dental health. And dental health is just like, there's so many things tied, like cardiac health and all this stuff, tied to having good dental health. Crazy. To treatment for many forms of cancer, taken orally. I didn't even know there was a way to take aloe orally until I read this book. It deeply soothes, hydrates, and increases the production of collagen. Aloe also decreases the gene activity that causes collagen production to decline in the first place. One study found that women who took aloe vera gel capsules had fewer wrinkles. How about that, ladies? After 90 days, moderate doses of about 1,200 milligrams will also improve your skin's elasticity. God knows I need that for as long as I can have it. So, a lot of different stuff. Red ginseng, never heard of red ginseng before this book. Pink bark extract. Black seed oil. I had never heard of black seed oil, but now it keeps coming up everywhere. So, here's what black seed oil is. Black seed oil is known in ancient times as the remedy for everything but death. A lot of utility value there. It's a complex food and spice, far more complex than most pharmaceuticals, which are often composed of single chemicals or simple combinations of single chemicals. Massage 1 milliliter, around a gram, which is a very small amount of oil, into the skin around your inflamed joint. Use your entire palm to massage around the front and the sides in a clockwise direction. Do this for about 5 minutes a day, 3 times a day. The Iranian study, this is based on an Iranian study on healing inflamed areas like aches and pains, achy joints. The Iranian study asked volunteers to use the oil for 3 weeks, which was enough time to produce measurable pain control. So black seed oil. And that's just a few. I mean, there is a huge list of things in this book that you can readily apply right now. You can go buy off the grocery shelf or go to a natural grocers or a Sprouts or Whole Foods and find so many of these products. Great book. I now grab it every day and pick it up and read about 2 minutes of it just to figure out some, to remind myself of tips and tricks and as I head into the day and what I'm going to eat and some things I'm going to add to my diet. Intentional movement practice and connect with nature's rhythms. I mean, it's not just about health. It's about just how you move your body, mindfulness, all those sorts of things. So with that, highly recommend Sayer G's Regenerate, unlocking your body's radical resilience through the new biology. That's it. And if you would, please subscribe to the channel. I would sure be grateful. Please check out these book reviews and also listen to the Jason Wright Show, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. And subscribe to the Vitruvian Letter. Please consider subscribing to the Vitruvian Letter. That's my newsletter. I'm actually doing this review while taking a break from writing the most recent issue of the Vitruvian Letter. It's basically where I take and I do the book reviews. I include those. I include information on things I'm exploring nutritionally, physically, mindfully. I also talk about upcoming guests on the podcast, past guests, kind of what I thought about the interview and just promote that. And just basically anything that I am exploring, experimenting with to help me in my endeavor to improve always in all ways, which that is the mission of everything I'm doing here with the Vitruvian Project and reading these books and all that. So with that, I hope that you go out and crush your day. If I can ever be of any help, go to jasonrightnow.com, hit the contact button, let me know what your question is, your concern. If you want to talk about personal coaching, I do that. So just reach out and we'll connect. So with that, have a great day. I'm out.